Hey, how's it going? This is Hellbent and welcome to the PixelGetColor tutorial part number 2. In the first part we looked at how to get a pixel's color off the screen, and we created a little device that actually displays that color for us. So this is what we had from the first part, and we can use this to get different colors off the screen and store that in a variable. In the second part, what we're going to do is we're going to update this a little bit to add some more information so we can use this in all of our scripting that we have to do where we use this command. So it's going to make using this command a lot easier in the future. And also we're going to create a new script where we actually use this information in a script. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a few new edits fields into our GUI. So here, I'll run it in the background just so you see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create 3 more lines or 3 more rows of a total of 6 edits. One's going to display the hex value for our color, so we can just copy this and then paste it into our script. And the next is going to be our X value, so the current X location on the screen, and then the last one's going to be the Y location on the screen. So that's all we're going to do. And I'm going to be using edit fields rather than text for part of this because of the way we wrote this, because it changes the background. If we were to change the background to, say, a color like black, and if our text was black, then we're not going to be able to read the text. So the easiest way around that is just to create a bunch of edit fields instead, because they'll have a white background. We could have done it where we displayed the color inside of an edit field, but that's not how we started this, so we're just going to work with what we have. So just follow along. We're going to add in a total of 6 edit fields. So I'm just going to save time. That's going to get annoying. Okay. I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to paste a total of 6, 5, 6. Alright. The first one, we're just going to have it start at the edge of a new line. So X10, we're going to have a width of about 50, should probably do, and a height of about 15. And then inside that, we don't need any variables for this first one or any G labels. So all we're going to do is we're just going to say color and then equals. Beside that, we're going to actually display the color. So we're going to have X plus 10 for this next one. We're going to have a width of 100 just to make sure there's enough room, and a height of 15. In this one, we will need a variable, so we're going to say V, and then we're going to call this the color. And that's it for that one. The next one, all we're going to have it display is just X equals, literally X equals. So we're going to have it drop down to a new line. So we're just going to say X10. We're going to have a width of 50, a height of 15, and then a comma, and then we're going to say X equals. On the next line, we're going to have our next edit beside this one. So we're going to do X plus 10. We're going to have a width of 50, should be more than enough, height of 15. It doesn't have to really look really nice, so I'm not too worried about anything like that. Okay, with this one we do need a variable, so I'm going to call this the X, and that's it for that one. The next line is just going to be the text that says Y equals, so we're going to be starting it on a new line. So I'm going to say X10, a width of 50, a height of 15, and then because we're just going to be displaying text, we don't need any variable, so I'm just going to say Y equals. And then the last line, this one's going to be beside this one, so it's X plus 10, width of 50, height of 15, and we are going to need a variable, and we're going to call our variable the Y. Okay, so we have all that. Now what we need to do is have a way of updating it with the values we have from this. So under this GUI color line, what we're going to do is we're going to type in 3 times GUI control, comma, comma, and then which control are we going to be controlling. So the first time we're going to be doing the color, So in here I type in the control that I want to be changing, the color, and then the next parameter is the value that I'm going to be placing in it. And in this case, the value is going to be whatever I have stored in the variable our color. So I'm going to type in our color. Okay, that's the first one out of the way. Now for the X. Two commas, and then it's going to be the control is called the X, and the value that we're going to store in this edit field is the value that we have right here. So whatever we stored into the variable X is going to get displayed here. And that's it for that one. Now the last one is the Y. Two commas. The Y is what we called that edit box. And then we're going to display the value that we have stored into the variable Y. Okay, there we go. And now we'll see our finalize tool. So if I go to over here, and it'll tell me what the color is. Oh, here, let me do that, and then I'll stop it by hitting right mouse button. Okay. So now I can use this in scripting. I can just copy this and paste it into my script. I can take my X location and my Y location. So it'll make scripting with this a lot easier with this tool. So I can actually see what the color is. I can see what the code of that color is, and I can see where on the screen that it is. Okay. So now that that's out of the way, what we're going to do is we're going to create a new script where we're actually going to use that information in the way that you would normally use this in a normal code. So we're going to keep this really simple. So I'm just going to start out by doing my single instance for, so that way we don't have to deal with the dialog. I'm going to create a hotkey for my emergency exit, which is I'm going to use number pad control plus number pad 1, and this is just going to exit the app. We're not going to need it, but I always like to do it. Okay, and then how we're going to use this now, there's tons and tons of ways that you can use this. I'm going to be using a hotkey, and when we get the appropriate response, what we're going to have it do is we're going to have it execute a message box. But you could literally make this do anything that you want. You don't have to do it the way that I'm doing it. I'm doing it this way because it's easy for me to type it out quickly, and it's easy for me to show you what's happening. So that's why we're using this. In your script, you could have 1,000 lines before it, and then you just check one time to see if a color matches, and then if it does match, you could have it run a program. You could have it exit the program. You could have it send a sentence. You could have it do anything that you want. What we're going to do is, in this example, we're going to have it execute a message box. That's it. And that's why we're doing it this way. It's not, when you do it, you can have it do anything you want. Okay, so now when I hit the number pad 0, so I'm just going to have it, number pad 0 executes our hotkey. And in our hotkey, all we're going to do is we're just going to have a simple infinite loop. And what we're going to do is, as soon as it comes into the loop, it's going to get the pixel information of a specific part of the screen, and this is where we're going to use our information to actually do some scripting. So PixelGetColor. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come up near the top here, and I'm going to create a variable that's going to store our target. So we could have multiple targets that we're looking for. So in our case, we're just going to use one. Our target color is this. This is the color that we're going to check to see if it's present on the screen or if it's not present on the screen. So I'm going to assign this color to a variable. And I'm going to call the variable our target color. And I am going to say that it equals, now in quotes, I'm going to take this information here and I'm going to paste that in. So this is where this tool comes in handy. Alright, and then now I don't need to do this for the target X and Y because in our case it doesn't really matter, but there is going to be cases where the X location and what your X locations and Y locations, you're going to want other ones. I'm just going to do it anyways just because. So I'm going to call it the target X and the target Y. But really we don't need this. We really don't need this, but I'm going to do it anyways. And I'm going to use our X location and our Y location. Actually, nope. I don't want to use that one. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to come back a step and I'm going to create a little box, and I'm going to use that color there, and I'm going to create a solid fill. And okay, there we go. Okay, so here we have a box now. I'm going to use this color picker again. Okay, so there we go. We have our information, and it's the same information there, but our X and Y have changed. So I'm just going to type those in. 146 is our X, 428 is our Y, and this is what we're going to use in here. So what we're going to do is we're going to check to see if the new color or the current color that it gets when it does this PixelGetColor, we're going to see if it matches what our target is. So we don't want to use our target here. We're going to use our target after, and then we're going to check to see if the two match. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to call this new variable here, we're going to call this our current color. So this is the current color that is underneath the cursor, or underneath this X and Y. So we're going to use the same X and Y. Like I said, we didn't need to do it that way there. Target X and target Y, and we're going to have it red, green, blue. Okay, and now what we're going to do is we're going to use a conditional. So we're going to say if our current color, because this is going to go through this loop over and over again, probably about between 20 and 30 times per second, probably. So 20 or 30 times a second is going to check that X and Y location, and it's going to store whatever color it gets into this variable here. And then what we're also going to do is we're going to check if that color that's stored, that it currently got each time it runs through the loop, if it matches our target color, we're going to have it do something. So we're going to say if current color equals target color, we're going to do something. And all we're going to do is we're going to have it pop up a message box. Now, because my mouse has been acting pretty weird, and I don't want the message box to get buried underneath accidentally over and over again, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this, and I'm just going to get the code for always on top. So this numerical sequence here gives me everything for the message box. So I just really want it to be on top, so that's all I really needed. Okay, and then we're going to say if these two colors match, we're going to have it say what are we going to say? We have a match. Now, like I said before, this message box is just because it's very easy, and you have something visual happening on the screen that you can see that the code worked. But in your thing, it could be you could send a key to do something. You could have it run a program to do something else. You could have it exit the program. You could have it do all kinds of things. For us, we're just going to use a message box because it's simple. It's easy for you to see, and it's easy for me to teach it. Okay? But the message box you can replace with anything that you want. Likewise with this whole loop thing, the whole number thing, you could have this in tons of different ways. In fact, if you stick around at the very end, I'll show one or two examples that I have where I've used this command in a script. Okay, so if the current color equals our target color, we're going to have a pop-up a message box that says we have a match. Okay, So we're going to save that, and we're going to run it. Okay. We're going to go back over here. Now we know that this is where we're looking. So what we're first going to do is we're going to change that color. And then if I go back to my script, I can see that if I hit the number pad 0, it starts our script. Or it starts running this loop. So we'll come back over here. Oh, damn. Let me undo that. Okay, I'm going to hit number pad 0, which starts the script. Now because this color doesn't match what our color was, so let me use this to get that, so that way we have our visual representation. Okay, so here's what the color that we are looking for. Currently it's not that color. So what happens if I paint this in and our color suddenly matches is we should get that message box. So I'm going to paint it in and we get a message box. We have a match. We have a match. Okay, so that's one way. We could also do, let me stop that previous version, part 2. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this. So now we're going to have this color to begin with, and what we're going to do is in our script, instead of it checking to see if it does equal, what we want to do this time is we want to see if something changes. So we want to make sure that the color that we're expecting is constantly there. So what we're going to do here is we're going to say if it does not equal our color, that's when we execute our message box. And we'll change this, and we'll change this to we don't have a match. Okay, so what we're doing is we're expecting our color to constantly be the same. If for some reason our color changes, then it's going to execute this code. So we'll save our changes, we'll run it again, and we'll come back over here, and I'm going to hit number pad 0 to start it. Okay, so it's running, no problem. All of a sudden, something happens, and the color changes, and we don't have a match anymore. We don't have a match. We don't have a match. Right? So it could run a program, play a sound, do this, do that, whatever. Right? Whatever we want it to do, it'll do that instead of popping up a message box. Alright, I think that covers everything. So that's the end of this tutorial. If you have any questions, just leave them down in the comments, and I'll get around to them. It's pretty straightforward. Just play around with us a little bit. You can have it set up multiple colors. So for example, I can have target color 1 equals that, target color, and I can use obviously all kinds of different variables. I can say that this is equal to right? And I can have a whole set of things, and then depending on what color shows up, I can have it execute different programs or different things that I want it to do. Okay, so that's the end of this tutorial. Now I'll do a quick example of a script that actually uses that. So I have a game here, deep.io, and I have a script. Let me see. AutoHotkey. Okay, so I created an AFK script. And okay. And let me add that. Okay. So here we have this one here. And oh, one last thing. What I did forget to do in this one here, which it turned out that it worked out okay, but what I should have done is changed our chord mode. So that's my bad. So we would want the mouse and pixel to be related to our screen. Alright. So make sure you add that in, because otherwise you might have some problems. It just so happened that I had been clicking on the screen that we were working on, so all the dimensions worked out okay, but I really shouldn't have done it. I really should have added this in. I had meant to when as soon as I started typing in this first thing back about 10 minutes ago or so, I had said to myself that, okay, as soon as I'm done typing this in, I'm going to add this in, but I ended up forgetting. My bad. That's my bad. Okay, so anyways, we have this game here, and we're going to go into a game. Okay, so if you look underneath my cursor right now, it's difficult to see, or at least it's somewhat difficult for me to see, but it's a slightly blue color. And if I look over here, I can see it's a lighter gray, and then over here it's a darker gray. So what this script does is, I'm going to keep my cursor still for a second. So my cursor isn't moving, but when I move my character, you can see that the color underneath my cursor changes. So right now it's blue, it's blue, it's blue, it's blue, and then suddenly it's gray. So what this script does is I set this gray color underneath this spot right here, so that if for some reason somebody decides to try to push me out, suddenly, eventually, that color underneath it will become gray, and it looks for that color, and if it's a match, if it matches up with that gray, all it does is it holds down the left arrow, and it'll keep checking until it's no longer gray. So if somebody tries pushing me out, eventually the color will turn gray. That's the color it's looking for. If it shows that color, it holds down the left arrow until it no longer sees that color anymore. Likewise, on the other side, I store this color into it, and it's constantly looking for this color. Let's say it's under this cursor right here. So it's looking there, it looks there, nothing, 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 nothing. It sees dark gray, so then it holds the right arrow until it stops seeing that gray. And it does the same for the top and the bottom as well. So with this script, I can go away, have a smoke or something like that, and nobody can push me out of the safe zone while I'm gone, because it'll automatically push me back in as soon as they try. Okay, so that's, like I said, this is an example of how you could use the PixelGetColor in a script. And let me see if I have the actual line where it actually looks for that. Okay, here. So this one here, this is how I store the color. So at the beginning, when I set up the script, is I click on the screen. I say, let me run this. So I pick two spots on the right side. The reason why I pick two spots is because if something's currently occupying this space, I don't want it to all of a sudden be all the way out to here before that object's moved. So instead, to get around that, I store two spaces. So I store a space right here and one right here. So even if somebody's occupying the one up here, this one will still get triggered, which will cause my cursor to my arrow to get held down. So I just hit set left. I pick a spot there. I don't think I need to set the other ones. I think I can run it right now. Okay, I do need to set the other ones. Damn. I'll do this quick. Alright, that's that side. Now I need the top and the bottom. Let me move that. Set bottom. Okay, there we go. Now I can actually run this. Okay, so all I'm going to do is I'm going to start holding down the left arrow, and eventually that spot that I had marked, so I marked two spots, so let's say it's right here and right here. Eventually the pixels underneath those are going to be this dark color, and it's going to start pushing my arrow in this direction, so that way I can't get pushed out. So I'm just going to start holding left. Eventually it's going to encounter that color and it pushes me back in. So I push over, I let go, and now it pushes me back in on its own. So nobody can push me out. Likewise on this side, and it does that on its own. Okay, so that's how it locks the pixels. If you And this script is available if you look on my channel. If you're interested in this script is free for anyone who wants to use it. Just watch the video. It'll show you how to set it up. It'll show you a link to a paste bin where you can get a copy of this. And that's it. Alright, so that's it for this one. I will see you on the next one, and have a good day.